The early 2000s McBling aesthetic was a culture-defining moment in both pop culture and fashion, which is why it's still being referenced today, 20 years later. The era was rooted in maximalism and gave way to an unabashed generation that freely expressed themselves through fashion, music, and personal identity. A fashion piece that was synonymous with the early 2000s McBling aesthetic was the Manolo Blahnik Oklamod boot. Manolo Blahnik was born in 1942 in Spain. He grew up with an affinity for set design as well as shoe design. A defining memory for Blahnik was creating little shoes for the lizards who lived in his backyard. A lot of Blahnik's work ties in elements of nature, which was one of his earliest sources of inspiration. In the late 1960s, Manolo Blahnik had dreams of becoming a set designer for the theater. However, after meeting the then editor-in-chief of Vogue magazine, Diana Vreeland, she encouraged Blahnik to focus on designing shoes, and he began studying the art of shoemaking. In 1970, Blahnik founded his eponymous label, Manolo Blahnik. Manolo Blahnik's rise to notoriety was nothing short of amazing. His first collaboration was with fashion designer Ozzie Clark, one of the key contributors to the swinging 60s counterculture movement in London. With Ozzie Clark's bohemian fashion designs paired with Manolo Blahnik's whimsical shoes, the pair was a match made in heaven, further solidifying Blahnik's impact on the industry. In 1979, Manolo Blahnik opened his first U.S. store in New York City. It wasn't until the late 1990s where Manolo Blahnik shoes became a cultural icon. Sex and the City premiered in 1998 with its cultural impact still relevant today. The show's lead, Carrie Bradshaw, played by Sarah Jessica Parker, was a columnist with an insatiable love for fashion. The character was often seen donning a pair of Manolo Blahniks, which undoubtedly gave the brand its cultural cachet. The Timberland boot was created in 1976 by Nathan and Sydney Schwartz, Ukrainian immigrants who migrated to Massachusetts. The leather boots were popular among blue-collar workers because of their durability and waterproof feature, making them withstand various weather conditions. However, it wasn't until the 90s that the boots were catapulted into mainstream due to New York City hip-hop culture. The Timberland boots, affectionately referred to as Timbs, Butters, or Constructs, were a staple in New York City largely due to rappers like Biggie Smalls, Tupac Shakur, the Wu-Tang Clan, and Busta Rhymes. Rappers rapped about the boots, were photographed in the boots, and integrated them into their daily wardrobe. Pretty soon, the boots were ingratiated into hip-hop and streetwear culture. Timberland boots are unisex and were worn by both men and women. However, the boot's design slightly leaned more masculine due to its origins in blue-collar work that were typically performed by men. In 2002, Manolo Blahnik released its Oklamod boot, which was dubbed Manolo Blahnik Timbs. Although there was never an official collaboration between Manolo's and Timberland, the Oklamod reimagined the classic yellow boot into its sexy, feminine counterpart. In 2002, J.Lo wore the Oklamod boots in her 2002 hit single, Jenny from the Block. She, along with Beyonce, were credited as being the first to debut the now iconic boot. Fast forward a year later, Jay-Z and Beyonce soft-launched their relationship in their '03 Bonnie and Clyde music video, with Jay-Z wearing the classic Timberland boot and Beyonce wearing its female counterpart. The Oklamod boots were also featured in music videos such as A. Marie's Talkin' to Me and J.Lo's All I Have, where she wore a pink version of the boot. In addition to its classic colorway, the Oklamod boots also came in blush pink, baby blue, and even red. In 2003, a year after the Oklamod's release, Mariah Carey wore a knee-high stiletto version of the Timberland boot, which were not Manolo Blahnik's, but actual Timberland boots. In that same year, Alicia Keys wore a flat version of the boots in her If I Ain't Got You music video. The Oklamod boots have since been discontinued, but in 2016, Rihanna collaborated with Manolo Blahnik for the second time and released the Fallon boot, which were inspired by her love for Timberland boots, suede, and shearling, a nod to the Manolo Blahnik Oklamod boots. As early 2000s McBling aesthetic continues on its path of revival, maybe Manolo Blahnik will re-release the Oklamod boots. Similarly to how Louis Vuitton re-released the Takashi Murakami collab, or Giuseppe Zanotti re-releasing the slim fishbone heels worn by Samantha Jones from the Sex and the City movie. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and if you'd like to see the Oklamod boots make a comeback. Thanks for watching.